Hello, my name is Bob Foster. I'm a technical manager at Coveros. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 similarities between releasing a successful product and being a successful lacrosse coach. Start with, don't just throw it over the wall. In DevOps, there's a term wall of confusion where it's created by groups or silos where one group is working on something, and when they think their job is done, they wipe their hands clean, they throw it over the wall to the next group. Uh, what happens in lacrosse. If you're a lacrosse coach, you've spent countless hours building a playbook, trying to figure out the best plays for your team based on players and level of expertise. You don't, at the start of the season, just hand every player a lacrosse ball and a playbook and say, there you go, figure it out, and I'll see you at the first game. You're going to stick around. You're going to help them. You're going to teach them the plays and what they should be doing. And same thing with a product when you release it to somebody. If it's open source, one of the first things people will look for is, hey, is this product being used? Is it actively developed and supported? And if it's not, they're probably not going to choose that product. If you're releasing to a client a product, you want to stick around and make sure that they use it correctly to the best of their ability. You don't want to just hand it to them and walk away. You want to write quality documentation. Um, Here you have a picture of a lacrosse play. There's numbers, there's squiggly lines, circles. You're not really sure what's going on, especially if someone's new to the team and has never seen a lacrosse play. You don't really know what's going on until it's documented and it tells you step by step what you're supposed to do, and then it starts to become more clear. In the delivering a framework, a lot of times you will hear, oh, a good code documents itself, or great unit tests are living documentation, and there's no need for actual documentation. And while I agree to that to a certain extent, it's not always possible for everybody to dive into the code and into the unit tests to kind of see how things are working. So to have some good quality documentation about how the product works, how do you deploy the product, how do you use the product, what's the API that you can use, that can really go a long way in helping a product be successful. Walking through the details. As a coach, you've given the players the playbook, you've have it documented so they know what to do, but it's not until they actually start to walk through it on a field that really starts to click. And a good successful coach is going to walk through every play until every player knows what they're doing and it really starts to click. And the same thing with releasing a product. Not everybody's going to take the time to look at the code. Not everybody's going to take the time to read the documentation, but to hold meetings where you're going through the details. Maybe you're walking through the documentation, you're showing examples and demonstrations. That can really go a long way in helping a product be successful and to be used correctly. Be the mentor. Not everybody's going to be at the same level. There's going to be newer players who aren't up to speed with everything that they need to be up to. Pull them aside, work with them one-on-one, make sure they understand how to do things, and then throw them back into the mix. But having that one-on-one time can be great. Same with releasing a product. You're going to have 2 types of people, well, 3 types, but the 2 that you need to mentor the most are the person who doesn't get it yet. They're having trouble and they just need to have some one-on-one time to really understand it. And then you have the people who are understanding it great. They're moving on to some of the functionality that hasn't been implemented yet, and they're having a little bit of trouble figuring that out. And you want to pull both these people aside. You want to work with them one-on-one, make sure that they get it, make sure they're using it correctly. And that can really help with the success of a product. And then maintaining product integrity. Product integrity, you want quality, you want it to perform well, you want it to be reliable. On a lacrosse field, product integrity starts the moment you step on that field. Are you in 2 lines looking like a good team? Are you all looking the same with the same color socks, shoes, t-shirts? That can do a lot. How you perform. If the starters are performing great and you put in the second or third string, do they perform just as good or nearly as good? You don't want to lose that integrity. With the product, releasing it, you're going to release that first release. It's going to have such great integrity. You love your product. Maybe the second release has the same amount, but as the product builds and as new people shuffle in and out, you could lose some integrity. You have additional people starting to build on the code. So how do you protect that integrity? You do it through processes, coding standards, code reviews, making sure that that product maintains the integrity it had from the moment it was released the first time. And if you can follow all this, you can have a successful lacrosse season and you can have a successful product release. Thank you for taking the time to listen.